What is up, guys? It is your boy Ancestor7 here. Welcome to another review video. Today I'm going to be finally reviewing Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes for the Switch. This game came out a couple of weeks ago and I finally finished the Scarlet Blaze route of the game. Whether or not I'll get to Azure Gleaming Golden Wildfire is completely up for debate. I honestly don't know. But anyways, I still figured that I'd review the game because, well, this has been one of my most anticipated games for this year. I absolutely love Three Houses, so does this Warriors spinoff hold up? Well, let's find out by watching the rest of the video. So, let's start off with the presentation of the game. Now, while some may believe that this game is a sequel, it is not. It's more of an alternate timeline. You see, in Three Houses, the main protagonist was Byleth, but this time you're Shez, and while Byleth does still exist, he takes on more of an antagonistic role. Though keep in mind that for the remainder of this review, I'm going to refer to Byleth as either he or she, so clear that up quickly. And instead, Shez actually becomes a student of one of the houses in the academy and whatnot. It's basically just alternate timeline and stuff like that. I'm not going to get too deep into the comparison, but it's different. It feels different. While there's a lot of similarities, the way things play out is very, very different from how it does in Three Houses. But presentation-wise, I like the game, and for it being just basically Three Houses but Warriors gameplay, I like it. I quite like it. I'll get more into that sort of specific stuff in the gameplay section, but still, I like it. And considering Three Houses itself ran on the Fire Emblem Warriors engine, it honestly seemed like a no-brainer to make something like this. Heck, I even thought that it was a possibility. And the visuals of the game and presentation is good. At least run frame rate wise, it's a lot better than I would have thought it would have been. I was kind of scared after playing the Age of Calamity demo that this game was going to run like piss, but it actually doesn't. It doesn't, not at one time did the game ever really run at such a horrible frame rate that I actually was starting to get sick. Seriously, that demo made me sick, and that made me not want to get the game at all. So, good on you. Maybe they patched it out, I'm not sure. And while I do feel that Three Houses didn't really look that good when it came to the environments, Three Hopes kind of continues that trend. Unfortunately, while I do feel like character designs and the character models and all the portrait artwork and all that stuff is really good looking, I can't say that about the rest of the world. The rest of the world is just so meh. They tried to make it more realistic looking, but I feel like they really should have stuck to a specific style. It honestly doesn't look that good, but it's not the biggest issue ever. Especially since now we can roam around these environments a lot more and really take in the scenery. It's not really that good. But now moving on to the story. Now, this is a game where it's 3 different routes, meaning 3 different stories. While they are similar in ways, they are different enough that I'm not going to spoil too much. I've only really played the Scarlet Blaze route, so I only really know what happens in that route of the story. And considering I haven't played the other routes, I'm not entirely sure how those play out. But the story, in my opinion, is not good. I'm going to be completely and utterly honest. The story of the game, at least Scarlet Blaze, is not that good. I'm going to make a video about this in the future where I talk about why I don't think the story's good, but I'm just going to say right now, like, no spoilers, I don't think the story's honestly that good. It's not, like, super terrible or anything like that, but it's not good either. It's just so... There's so many things that the story wanted to do, but it didn't go far enough with, in my opinion. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. If you want to know more about that, I'm going to make a video in the future talking about that, so yeah. But story-wise, it's honestly, it was a bit of a letdown, honestly. It was one of the biggest things I took away from the game, honestly. But moving forward onto the gameplay front, the gameplay is amazing. I have no real big complaints about it. And well, yes, it is Warriors gameplay, and it can kind of get a little mindless and a little boring after some time, because I'm not going to lie, like, if you're kind of just playing the game, it can be a little boring sometimes after, like, enough time, but the game is so much fun. The gameplay, like, everyone feels really good. Well, I at first wasn't really too into the archer units and mages, considering they attacked at a much slower speed. I eventually did learn to really like them. And honestly, I'm not going to go into like characters, like specifics, but all the characters at least feel good to play as. None of them I would say are like downright really bad. But That's just how I feel. I like the gameplay of the warrior sections. You basically, most of the time, it's going to have you either seizing the strongholds, which you have to defeat the stronghold captain to seize the area, or you have to protect some other allies that are further within the map that before their health goes to zero, which those are so much fun. I honestly don't like those ones. They're so annoying because they always get surrounded by 5 cavaliers, and the cavaliers are just so annoying in this game, I swear. I hate dealing with them because I never had enough units I could take them out quickly enough. And like there's some other stuff like beat the boss and stuff like that, and some other ones in general as well. There's not really a lot of variance with the gameplay, to be completely honest, but there's at least enough to make it feel unique, because the maps are always changing and whatnot, so I like that. The gameplay is quite good. But what about the what about the non-slashing enemy stuff? What about the more monastery sort of stuff? Well, in this case, it's the camp. You can't explore the monastery, which is kind of a bit of a letdown. I think it would have been kind of cool if in like one of the later chapters of the game, one of the battles takes place within Garagmach. I think that'd be really cool. I don't know. I always like the idea of that. And then you can explore the camp and whatnot, and this kind of harkens back to the monastery gameplay in Three Houses. You can set chores for you and a couple of comrades to do, so that way you can gain support levels and whatnot. You can make meals, you can take an ally out in expeditions, which basically are in place of the tea times from the original game. I personally prefer the tea parties more. I don't know, those were a lot less filler heavy. And they honestly looked a little better too, if I'm going to be completely honest. Sorry. And you can also give gifts to various allies and whatnot, and train as well, so that way you can get them higher levels and whatnot. Heck, you can actually spend money to literally make allies stronger. So if let's say like if you're like me and you don't use Caspar or Linhardt throughout most of the run, but you want to make them at least still usable. You want to see how they play. Well, you could just level them up to like level 30 just like that. And considering how much money I got in the game, it really was never a problem. So I had a pretty good beast of a team. But I will admit that the final boss of the game was genuinely pretty difficult, because it genuinely wiped out my party quite well. And they were all way over the level of 32, which, slight spoilers, but it's not that big of a deal. I didn't spoil anything, but even so, gameplay is really solid. But there is one thing I did forget to mention: the supports. And this is the thing that I absolutely love about Three Houses. This is what made Three Houses go from a pretty good game to amazing, because I love the supports in that game. The supports are so fun. They can show a lot more insight on characters. I love it so much. Three Hopes supports, they're fine. They're okay, but I'm not really too into them the same way I'm into Three Houses. Not every conversation in Three Hopes has a support conversation, so instead, like, you'll have like maybe 2 or 1 per like pair. But the thing is, though, is that they make the conversations themselves much longer. One conversation is like 5 minutes, which I'm not as into when like the original one support conversation would be about like maybe 2 to 3 minutes. I don't know. And I feel like the supports in Three Hopes aren't nearly as great as I would have liked, but I don't know. I still like the characters a lot, especially Shez. I know this is more of a like story sort of thing, but I guess I had to throw some stuff about the characters in here somewhere. Shez is easily a better protagonist than Byleth ever was. I think Shez has a lot. It doesn't have necessarily like the biggest personality, but he brings so much more to the table than Byleth ever did. I don't know. I really like how they handled that. But yeah, gameplay wise, Three Hopes is pretty good. And game control wise, it's completely good. And content wise, well, you get 3 separate routes. My Scarlet Blaze route took about like 20-ish hours to finish. You can like all the other routes, and those are probably 20 or so hours as well. The game's like 60 hours worth. Easily worth the $60 price tag. Easily. And the music of the game is pretty good too. It has various new songs as well as remixes, and obviously the more warrior style format for the music, and the music's quite good. I don't think it's as good as Three Houses, but I still like the music quite a lot. It's quite good. And now moving on to my final thoughts on the game. And Three Hopes was, like I said at the beginning of the review, one of the most anticipated games for me this year, and It's a good game. I think it's really, really solid, but it does not beat Three Houses. While I gave Three Houses a 9 out of 10, I'm going to give Three Hopes an 8 out of 10. I do like this game quite a bit. It's a lot of fun to play. I really love just being able to play as these characters in a warrior style game. But I just feel like the story was such a letdown. The supports, while alright, in my opinion, aren't as good as that of Three Houses. Especially in terms of the comedy, I don't feel like they're nearly as funny. Which I liked about Three Houses. I liked how the characters can be a lot more silly. I know not everyone's into that, but I liked it. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to really say. Three Hopes is a super solid game, but to be honest though, I would still play Three Houses first before you play Three Hopes. Though if you haven't played Three Houses and want to play Three Hopes first, it's okay. I honestly would still prefer playing Three Houses first before Three Hopes, but still, pretty solid time. And now, is it my game of the year? Honestly, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Well, I'll have that discussion at the end of the year, kind of like I did last year with the game of the year, but the possibilities of it being my game of the year are possible, but I'm not entirely sure though, because again, like I said before, I just don't like the story. And I do apologize that I didn't really talk about it all here, but like, I don't want to really spoil it because a lot of my issues with the story are spoiler heavy, and I don't want to really get into that here. So you'll have to wait until next week or the week after that. I don't know when it's going to be going up, where I talk about the story of Three Hopes. But that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think of the story of the game, and let me know what you guys think of the game in general, if you guys really like it, or if it's kind of just average, or if you don't like it at all. Let me know in the comments below, and hit the subscribe button if you're brand new, because I'm going to be making that story video soon enough, so yeah. I think you should do that. And with that being said, this is NCS7 signing out. Peace out and have a good day.